Cracking Thai in 10 Sentences, Episode 2. This is Cracking Thai, learning the Thais that Thai really speak from extraordinarily ordinary but rich sentences. Now, these sentences are taken again from David Martin's 4,000 plus sentences that he's mined, and they are extraordinarily real sentences that you'll find Thais using. So I'm going to fetch my random 10, get into the usual swing of things, and let's see what we have today. I don't know what sentences are going to come up. And bang, there's our first sentence, and they have populated. The way this works is that we have 10 sentences pulled at random right now from 4,000 sentences. There's a total of 20 sentences in 200 sets here. And so when we want to see the sentences in context, we can look down here. So this first sentence is sentence number 10 of set 45. So when we want to see it actually in context, sometimes it's in context, sometimes it's loosely related. But if we want to get more information about where that sentence has come from, we might jump down here. Let's start. Sentence number 1, which is number 890 from this set of 4,000 is เหตุผลเดียวที่ Okay, so this has got some interesting things in here. What can we pull out here? First of all, this word head. It looks really weird. And you can see if we spell this, this would be hetu. And so this has obviously come from Sanskrit, the fact that it has this u at the end. We don't pronounce that in Thai because the glottis closes at the end of syllables. So hetu just becomes head. Notice that it's a long vowel there. Sometimes in normal speech, you'll hear it lengthened and it means the reason for something. เหตุผล And this next word here, ผล Now, this originated from the p sound in Sanskrit or f that you will see in Hindi if you speak Hindi. It's this letter here, ผล. And in Thai, because it's a high class, you'll see that it is done with a rising tone. But as soon as we see these high class letters like this, your throat should be dropping down. Don't think of the pitch per se. Just think, I got to drop my throat down, then it's going to come back into this normal position. So listen to this. เหตุผล You see that? It's raised up like that. So เหตุผล means the reason for something. And then this word, DL, what DL actually means is single or individual. So เหตุผลเดียว the only reason. Now, this is an interesting thing in Thai. So if you're, say, ordering something and you only want one of them, you could say หนึ่งอัน. Or supposing I was ordering a coffee. And this is something that I do regularly down at 7-Eleven, and I would say, can I please have one glass of coffee? Okay, so กาแฟ you could say แก้วหนึ่ง. Now, แก้ว is the classifier for glasses or cups. หนึ่ง one. So กาแฟแก้วหนึ่ง one cup of coffee. However, very often you might hear กาแฟแก้วเดียว, a single cup of coffee when you're ordering it. And in orders, especially in something like a cafe and Starbucks and 7-Eleven, you'll hear this word DL used a lot because often you're ordering for other people, or they might want to clarify with you exactly how many glasses that you've ordered, how many cups that you've ordered. So the word DL, you're not going to mistake this with anything. And so gao DL, a single cup of coffee if you've ordered it that way, or Thaiyen tea. So เหตุผลเดียว a single reason. เหตุผลเดียวที่ the only reason that. So here เหตุผลเดียว turns into only, and here, yes, he's translated as the only reason that. ที่ in this sense would be that. So เหตุผลเดียวที่ the only reason that. But here, interesting things are the spelling from these Sanskrit words, the tone in on this, and then DL used as singular, one or only. And you'll find Thais use this a lot. Less used by foreigners who speak Thai, but try and start using it more if you don't use it that much. Okay, sentence number 2 is number 3904 and is ระวังติดคอ. Okay, there's some interesting points we can pull out here. ระวัง. See how it's fast. ระวัง. It means be careful. Watch out. Look out. ระวังนะ. Now, you have to be really careful between this word and the word meaning in between. ระวัง. With a low tone and down low means in between. This one is ระวัง fast ระวังระหว่างระวังระหว่าง Can you hear the difference? I hear a lot of foreigners get these two mixed up, and so when they're saying watch out, they're actually saying in between. Maybe that's what they mean, who knows? But just practice saying those two words. The tone's different and the length of the vowel, the vowel is different. So ระวัง look out ระวัง in between ระวังระวัง Now here ติดis a really interesting word. It's a word that I use in Cracking Thai Fundamentals. If you've read the book or you've taken the course, you will hear the word thaw and then tit. So tit literally means to be stuck onto something. So tit. However, in Thai, the word tit goes way beyond just the word stuck in English. So for example, you might know the word rot tit. So car tit. That means there's a traffic jam. Here, tit cor. So cor is your neck or your throat. So tit cor. You might be eating fish or eating chicken and you're saying be careful, you don't want the bones to get stuck in your throat. So ระวังกระดูก Now, okay, so if it's a fish bone, this is another thing. A fish bone is not กระดูก กระดูก are like these bones like are there in your arms. And so chickens have กระดูก, pigs have กระดูก, but fish don't have กระดูก, they have ก้าง. So if you were eating fish, it'd be ระวังก้างติดคอ. Be careful that the fish bone doesn't get stuck in your throat. But supposing you're eating chicken and you don't want the chicken bone, it would be ระวังกระดูกติดคอ. Be careful that the bone doesn't get stuck in your throat. But here ติดคอ means to be stuck in here in your throat. ติด also can be used if you're saying somebody has a certain addiction to something. So for example, ติดเหล้า addicted to alcohol. So they're an alcoholic. Or ติดยา they are addicted to drugs. You could be ติดผู้หญิง you could be addicted to women or whatever it is that you are ติด. You could be ติด a certain drama or a Korean series. So any of these you can be ติด. In English, you wouldn't say I'm stuck to this series. Maybe you could say I'm stuck on this series, but it doesn't really make sense. But ติด has a very broad meaning, and here cor is just in this common tone meaning neck. So ระวังติด cor. Be careful it doesn't get stuck in your throat. What's going to get stuck in your throat? Let me know in the comments. Next sentence. ดูจากสีหน้า. Okay, this is really interesting. Du means to look. If you speak Chinese, kan would be the equivalent of du. Notice in Thai we have du to look, but in English we wouldn't say, for example, I'm going to look at the television. You say, I'm going to watch the television. But in Thai, you say, du โทรทัศน์ I'm going to do the television. Or if you're saying, look over there, du. But du is to look or sometimes to watch. If you're actually going to watch over something, that would be foul. So you're overseeing something. But if you're going to see something, it would be hen. So did you see that? Hen ไหม Did you see it? Do you see it? Hen ไหม See? เห็นไหม So เห็น is to see, do is to look or watch. So there's kind of an overlap in English, but they're slightly different. Okay, จาก This word จาก here means from, not much to say on that. สี meaning color, from the same origin as the Chinese word เสื้อ meaning color, สี. And now this word is interesting, หน้า. Notice that it's a nor with a hor-heap masking it, which means it's a high-class nor. This used to be but that is lost. If you speak Burmese, you still have this aspirated N, but it's lost its aspiration in Thai, but it still keeps the spelling and the tone rule applies. So a meitor on a high class means falling. Na, meaning your face. Si na is basically the facial expression. So du jak si na, I can tell from the look on that person's face. What did they translate it as? Judging from the look on your face. Okay, I can tell from the look on your face. Notice how there are no pronouns here. We speak about this a lot in this series. Pronouns in Thai are very often dropped. You don't need it. You can look from the context. So, du jak si na. You could say that talking about somebody if you know the context. So, you're talking about somebody, you were telling them that you invited them to the party, but du jak si na, เขาไม่อยากไป. I could tell from the look on their face they didn't want to go. So, you don't have to say that he, she, it, I, you, it's from the context. But ดูจากสีหน้า the สีหน้า is the look on a face, the color of the face. By the way, if you're talking about somebody's face in general, you don't just say หน้า, you would say หน้าตา face eyes หน้าตาดี that person has a good looking face you wouldn't just say หน้าดี you'd say หน้าตาดี the face and eyes just the way you say it in Thai okay next sentence number 922 from set 47 sentence number 2 ฉันเป็นลูกคนเดียว okay so I'm an only child obviously it's a female speaking in this context because they've used the word ฉันเป็นลูกthe child คนเดียว again we have the word เดียว here meaning single so in this sense it means only so I am the only child now notice this is something that I hear a lot of just beginner learners of Thai mix up ลูก means child it actually means subordinate object so for example ปืน is a gun ลูกปืน the subordinate to a gun or the thing that is from a gun that spawned from a gun ลูกปืน is a bullet okay so ลูก is this subordinate thing that is spawned from something now in humans ลูก would be a child so ลูก is a child in this sense so you have คุณพ่อคุณแม่ the father and mother not mother and father but father and mother and then you have the ลูก the children now I wouldn't say มีลูกเดียวif I said ลูกเดียว it means one ลูก and ลูก also means ball that's why when you're talking about a bullet it has this image of a ball so if you say มีลูกเดียว it means has only one ball but here the classifier is คนis the classifier for people so you need to say ลูกคนเดียว one person of ลูก child so just be careful if you say ผมมีลูกเดียวthat means I've only got one ball maybe you do and so in this case she says ฉันเป็นลูกคนเดียว she's a female because uses ฉัน so she probably doesn't have balls so it's ฉันเป็นลูกคนเดียว I am an only child and make sure you get that คน put in there I wonder what the context is let's have a look here okay ฉันชื่อ my name is ฉันเป็นลูกคนเดียว okay so obviously somebody is just telling something about herself introducing herself here it says คุณมีลูกไหม do you have children and then ลูกชาย is a son อายุ the age 4 ขวบ okay I'll touch on this while we're here ขวบ is age normally when you talk about ขวบ as an age you have two words you have อายุ okay so อายุ 4 ขวบ the age is 4 ขวบyou would usually only use ขวบ for about up to 10 years old after that you would use the word just years so ปี so for example 30 years old 30 ปีอายุ30 ปี but anything up to about 10 you can use the word ขวบ so อายุ4 ขวบ but that's another sentence maybe we'll get to that later in this series but for this sentence ฉันเป็นลูกคนเดียว I am an only child next sentence number 1554 เป็นผลเสียต่อร่างกาย okay so this is interesting there are some interesting structures here we have the word เป็นmeaning is to be ผล now we had this ผล in the first sentence เหตุผล ผล means the fruit of something so if you speak Sanskrit or Hindi you would know the word pala means fruit pala drop the a pal and then the art turns to o just like Bengali as well so ผล pol and then in Thai because an L is on the palate and the throat closes what happens to a l when the throat's closed ผล so pala pal pol ผล okay that's how it turned into ผล in Thai meaning fruit or the result of and then this next word เสีย means broken or bad something that is not in the state that it should be so I could say เสียใจ ใจ is heart or my mind so เสียใจ my heart is broken I feel really bad I'm disappointed but here ผลเสีย is the resulted bad effect that happens on something so for example the ผลเสีย of pouring water over my telephone is that the phone breaks so the ผลเสีย is the resultant bad result of something and here this is an interesting word let me just cover this word first ร่างกาย now be careful when you say this word you'll often hear people say it too fast and they'll say ร่าง it's not ร่าง it's ร่างกาย it's got this long R and falling tone ร่างกาย ต่อร่างกาย so when you are joining two things and saying something has this result on this, again, this goes back, I think I mentioned in the first sentence today, and it's in Cracking Thai Fundamentals. This is one of my 11 key meaning building block words. ต่อ low tone ต่อ means to connect on to something, but then it's got also some kind of movement. So เป็นผลเสีย it's the bad effect ต่อ hooking onto ร่างกาย the body. กาย is basically the physical body. Often you'll talk about กาย and ใจ ใจ is the mental being. กาย is the physical body of who you are. So ร่าง and ร่าง is also the actual, like the outline of the body as well. So often you'll say รูปร่าง that person sort of cuts a good figure. Their รูปร่าง looks good. ร่าง is the body. กาย is also the physical body. So often we'll hear, just like in Chinese, two words meaning similar things put together as one meaning. So the full meaning of this, เป็นผลเสียต่อร่างกาย, it's harmful to your body. Yeah, I would agree with this translation. Okay, next sentence. Sentence number 3438. What have we got? ได้เจอกันเสียที or ได้เจอกันสักที. Okay, interesting things here. You won't often hear, we just learned เสีย in the last one. Isn't it crazy that these sentences are totally random? I wrote an algorithm to pull random sentences out, but look how much repetition. It's not how much vocab you have, but it's how you use it. So just learning individual syllables even isn't enough. You need to learn it in context like this. If you really want to learn more, come into J Academy, subscribe to Cracking Thai Fundamentals just for the Thai. But if you really want to learn, jump into Minecraft. It's there. You're there for a year with all of this, a great community, and it will get your Thai or whatever language it is that you're learning to a fluent level and help drive you to do what you need to do to get it there. But anyway, let's have a look at this. ได้เจอกันสักที so เสียที is the full form of it, but สักที is what you'll normally hear. So let's just look at this word first. ได้ we talked about that meaning have had something done. เจอกัน เจอ means to meet. กัน กัน is a reciprocal movement. So รัก means to love. รักกัน to love one another. ตี to hit. ตีกัน to hit one another. จูบ to kiss. จูบกัน kissing one another. So เกลียด hate. เกลียดกัน to hate one another. It's a reciprocal action. If you speak Chinese, it's like the word 相 meaning to reciprocate. So you can basically put กัน after anything, and it means the action is done back and forth. And you'll often use it in Thai in situations where maybe you wouldn't use the word each other in English. Sometimes you would. So ได้เจอกัน we met each other. I guess you could say it in English, but you don't need to put the each other in. You'd still understand that it was we that met. So ได้เจอกันสักที Now notice how we don't even know who's doing the meeting. So if I were to meet somebody and say, oh, ได้เจอกันสักที we finally met. Or if I was talking to somebody about some other person and then said, oh, finally ได้เจอกันสักที we finally met. So this word เสียที this is just an idiom and it's contracted to sati. One thing to be careful here, the word t and t. Notice that t here does not have my x, so it's done with this common tone. T. And so this means a time, like one time, two times, three times, once, twice, three times, that kind of time. So 1 ที 2 ที 3 ที If I wanted to say, for example, I'm ordering portions at a restaurant and I'm ordering a meal and I'd say I'd like 2 portions of this, I would use the word ที่ 2 ที่ 3 ที่ or places. How many places did you go? 3 ที่ We went to 3 places. That's ที่ with a falling tone, but this is ที่ with a common tone. So สักที so it's talking about this one time we finally got to meet. I guess that's a way to translate it in an elaborated fashion, but here it says finally we meet. And yeah, we meet finally. ได้เจอกันสักที So for example, if I want to say, when the heck are we going to eat? เมื่อไหร่จะกินข้าวสักที That would work, สักที So for once or finally, but it just means for once, for one time, สักที This is a very common thing that you'll hear Thais use in colloquial Thai, and yeah, you don't really hear foreigners use it that much. Next sentence. Okay, sentence number 235. This is ดีใจ ที่ได้คุยกัน Okay, so ดีใจ again we've got another one of these ใจ words ใจ of course means the heart or the mind and it's like the shinsapang in Chinese. It's anything to do with the mind, feeling, emotion, thinking, cognitive processes. You would use the word ใจ somewhere in there. D meaning good. Now notice that it's not D. I'm not saying d. I don't have this ticking. It's D. The dodek in Thai originally came from no with the throat closed. So no, do. It's not do. So it's not DJ. It's DJ. So this is why the letter is actually in middle class and it's a match with do, do. They were originally the letters with this throat closed. So if you're saying DJ and you hear this d clicking or a ticking on your D, you're saying it wrong. Tongue's got to come back to the position that you pronounce an N from and then just close your throat over it. D. Say N with a cold. Do. And also, bobai mai, by the way, is an M done in the same way. So a B in Thai is not like a B in English. It's from an M with the throat closed. So mummy, babi, bobai mai, DJ means good, I'm happy, I'm glad. And then the next word, T. So that's the T that we mentioned for the last sentence with the falling tone, not T meaning a time. So that, in this sense, dai. Again, we did dai in the last clip as well, that something has happened. So let's look at this final word first because we just did it, gan. So that's reciprocated. And here we have the word kui. Now you have to be really careful with this word because there are several and they mess up the pronunciation and there could be catastrophic results. So say this with me. It's an u vowel. Kui means to chat. Okay, so kui gan means to chat with each other. The word for buffalo, kwai. It's got this long R. So that's one word that you might hear somebody say kwai and they'll say kui or the other way around. The other one, which is really dangerous, is if you say the oi, not ui, but oi vowel after a k, it means the male genitalia and it's very crass. So if you say k and then a way instead of k, ui for chat, you're not saying chat, you're saying male genitalia and you're going to get different reactions. Maybe you want that reaction, but don't say I didn't warn you. So this sentence in full, DJ tide kui gan. I'm happy that we got the opportunity to speak together. Now in English, I stretch it right out. I added pronouns in and everything, assuming I know the context. Nice talking to you. There you go. It was nice talking to you. There's no pronouns in there, but we just assume given the context. If I look down here, what's the context? It's saying, what is it? ไม่เข้าใจว่าทำไม I don't know why. บอกตามตรง speaking frankly. And then here, ดีใจที่ได้คุยกัน I'm happy that we had the opportunity to speak. ดีใจที่ได้พบกัน I'm happy that we had the opportunity to meet. Okay, so this is just a sentence pattern. Maybe it wasn't all in one string in a conversation, but there are different things that you might say in an interaction like this. ดีใจที่ได้คุยกัน I'm happy that we had this opportunity to speak. Next sentence. Sentence number 2026. ไม่เสียตังค์สักบาท. Okay, so let's have a look at here. ไม่ not เสีย. We learned เสีย meaning to break, to be the bad result of, for something to go bad. So, for example, the meat, เนื้อเสีย, the meat has gone rotten. So, เสีย. So, anything that has altered into a bad state from what it should be would be เสีย. And then here, ตัง. So, this word, ตัง, from satang, you have a baht and then satang, and the sa is taken off of that. So, tang meaning money. So, kit tang is like saying kit ngun, can I get the bill please? Kep tang. And here, ไม่เสียตัง. So, tang is more of a colloquial word for money. And here, sak baht. So, sak in this sense means even 1 baht. So, ไม่เสียตังค์สักบาท. I didn't even lose 1 baht of my money. So, ไม่เสียตังค์สักบาท. This word sak is used in a lot of contexts like this. So for example, you want to say there wasn't one person that wanted to go. ไม่มีใครอยากไปสักคน. สักคนคน is person สักคน not even one person or supposing you want to say I just want somebody to love me ขอให้มีคนรักเราสักคน so สักคน is just one person สักคน could there just be only one person สักบาทสักคน you put this meaning only or just one whatever the thing that follows and the thing that follows will be a measure word okay next sentence 2943มันไม่สำคัญ okay มันin this sense, okay, I've mentioned in other clips, man means either potato or he, she, it. If you are going to use it to mean he or she, make sure that you're ready to fight or it's with somebody that you are in a situation where it's okay to use that. Otherwise, they will get angry. Man is the word for he or she if you're talking about animals. But in this sense, it means it. So, manไม่สำคัญ it ไม่ not สำคัญ สำคัญ has this interesting ying at the end. Whenever you see this, you can guess that it's probably come via Khmer. Ying originally was nyon ying. By the time you get to Bangkok Thai, however, it's lost this palatization, and so it just turns into a y. But you'll still hear it in words like sanya, panya, nya, if you've got two of these yaws together. But just by itself, at the end, it's pronounced as an N. So this word here, samkhan. So that means important. มันไม่สำคัญ it's not important. Let's have a look at the context that it was in. So here it says ให้ผมไปส่งนะ so I'll go and send it. Let me go and send it. That ให้ again is let. ยังจำได้ I can still remember. That's here ยังจำได้ and here is มันไม่สำคัญ oh it's not important. So whatever it was that you remembered, it's not important. And what's the next sentence? มาที่นี่ได้ยังไง how did you get here? มาที่นี่มา to come ที่นี่to this point ได้ยังไง how through what method okay so that's interesting to look at the context sometimes to get a better grasp of what this is actually meaning and again because we don't use pronouns a lot in Thai we need context and finally let's look at number 10 sentence number 10 2987พอจะรู้จักคนชื่อโอ้จุดไหมor ไม่ครับ okay so let's break this down พอจะ you can see that in brackets if you're going to approach somebody in public and you're going to say you wouldn't happen to or I say excuse me sort of that พอจะ it softens things พอ literally means enough พอจะ I'm sorry you wouldn't just happen to it makes things much more polite to say that พอจะขยับนิดนึงcould you just move over just a little bit maybe I'm squished in or often used with the verb to know so รู้พอจะรู้ไหม you wouldn't happen to know would you so พอจะรู้จักokay so รู้ is to know but รู้จัก is usually in reference to a person so รู้จัก you รู้จัก people and then here is คน a person ชื่อ is a name so พอจะรู้จักคนชื่อ you wouldn't happen to know a person named and then ไหม now you notice they've spelled ไหม here with this ho mo and it would be pronounced with a rising tone ไหม but the reality is in speaking you would never really say this with a rising tone it would be with a high tone and even in writing texts you don't write it like this you would write it มอไม่หันอากาศไม่โทยอยักษ์ไหมand then ครับ if you're a guy so พอจะรู้จักคนชื่อเจไหมครับ you wouldn't happen to know a person called Jay would you very straightforward sentence but again this is a very Thai structure and you wouldn't often hear foreigners who learn Thai use structures like this they might translate directly and it would sound kind of close it would make grammatical sense but this is how you would feel the sentence as a native Thai speaker let's have a look at the context here so มีคนมาถามหาคน this is actually an interesting sentence มีคนมาถามหา we looked at the word หา in episode number 1 มีคนมาถามหา ถาม is to ask and หา to look for so to ถามหา is to ask about now หา but หา doesn't that mean search yeah it means search but you ถามหา when you're calling somebody on the phone you โทรหาthis หา is to search for somebody and you do the same thing in Chinese actually you use the word 找 who are you wanting to speak to in Chinese you'd say 找谁 which is 找 is the exact same word as หาใครครับ who are you looking for which literally translates as looking for but in this sense who would you like to speak to มีคนถามหา somebody has been asking about you so basically their questions have led to wanting to find you or know something about you number 6 ทำได้ในสิ่งที่อยากทำ so do what you want to do and then this one พอจะรู้จักคนชื่อ you wouldn't happen to know somebody named okay so these sentences aren't really linked in one discussion line but they're all very very useful and very very normal this is how native Thai speakers will use language I hope you enjoyed that was episode 2 if you like this get your copy of Cracking Thai Fundamentals subscribe at J Academy to Cracking Thai Fundamentals unlimited bundle and you'll get all of these I'm putting a portion of them on YouTube but I'll have many more in J Academy and if you're really serious about learning Minecraft. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, scan the QR code and come into the Discord server and I'll see you on the other side.